All right, hey everybody, Coach Kayla here, and today what I'm going to show you is a little core workout. So I'm basically going to go through a couple sets of core exercises that are part of the staple of my own programming and what I do for myself. And I'm only going to go through one round, and the point is that you can do this as a whole circuit and do everything once through and then repeat as many times as you like. You can take each exercise and do them, say, in sets, do 3 by 10, 4 by 10, and then move on to the next. Or you can just take pieces of it. So I just kind of want to walk you through a couple of them, and we're going to kind of go piece by piece. I'm going to do a small set of each of them to show you, and I will try to walk you through the exercise as best I can. Now, I am definitely not perfect at all of these. I want to specify that. I try my best and I try to keep good form as much as I can, but I'm definitely not perfect. So I'll walk you through them as much as I can, and then we're just going to go from there. So what we're going to start out with, I like to start out with is kind of a mixture of some pieces that I've learned through yoga. We usually start out I like to start out my core workouts doing kind of a downward dog chaturanga sequence, and I do 10 of those. And then move into a downward dog, a single leg downward dog, knee to elbow, kind of a flow, where then we move into what I like to call plank walkouts and superset those with some plank jacks with my feet. And then I move into what I do for some flutter kicks and Russian twists. And then we move into a plank series. And some of these you can add in some weights if you'd like, but I'm doing all these with body weight. So here we go, we're gonna get started. We're gonna start out with the chaturanga downward dog sequence. So basically just get yourself into a comfortable downward dog position, trying to keep your back nice and straight, your kind of butt up, palms out, having the weight on your palms and not your fingers. Transfer into a plank, back here for you guys. Transfer into a plank, keeping your elbows in as much as you can, down to a push-up, up, oh, that feels good, and push back up. And we're gonna do 10 of those. Moving at a speed that feels good for you. Feel free to hold any position as long as you want. Okay, I think this is 10. Not 100% sure. All right. Now we're gonna stay in that downward dog position. And we're gonna do knee to elbow. Raising one leg, transferring into a plank, and bringing your knee to your elbow. And then to the center, and then to the other. And just repeat 10 times. Okay, and we do the next leg. Up. And that is your first two. Next, we're moving into the plank walkouts with superset plank jacks. The key with these is to really think about engaging your core and keeping your spine straight. So how I like to do this to keep your spine nice and neutral is think about tilting my pelvis, kind of like that. So if you're here, tilting instead of being here. Okay? And to do that, I think about sucking my belly button to my core, my spine. So we get into a plank position. And here we want to keep our hips stable the entire time. Try not to bounce a lot. And we just walk out as far as we can and walk back in. And that's one. Just like that. Next, we're gonna follow this up with some plank jacks. Basically, you stay in the plank position and you're going to jack your legs if you're doing a jumping jack. Again, the key is to keep your hips level and not have as much movement in your hips. Just like that, feet out. I find that with that, you really have to focus on engaging your glutes as well. Okay, next we're gonna move away from the plank for a few minutes and into some flutter kicks. You can do these a couple of ways. One, in a V, and two, on your back. So I'll demonstrate both. On your back, lay here with your back as flat as you can. Legs 6 inches, and just flutter. Keep your spine tucked to the floor, and do so by thinking of drawing your belly button to your spine. And those are flutter kicks. I like to follow these up with Russian twists, which I'll show you after I show you how to do the flutter kicks in a V. Flutter kicks in a V are done very similarly. Start out with a nice straight neutral spine. I personally have to have my hands on the ground. Eventually, if you can get them up, that's awesome. Rotate back onto your sit bones and flutter your feet as if you were swimming. If you can get your hands up, that is ideal. And we do this for 30 seconds. Then we move into our Russian twists, which you can use a weight or no weight. Sit into on your sit bones, similar as if you're doing a V, and just twist, keeping everything neutral and in line, feeling the twist in your core and not your hips. You can also bring your feet up and twist that way, trying to prevent movement of your feet and lower body, and having the movement only be in your core. Okay, next one is my plank progression or plank set. We're gonna start out in just a natural plank, elbow on your elbows, spine straight, head in line with spine, core engaged by sucking your belly button to your spine, pelvis tilted, and everything nice and straight. No tilting, keep everything in line. And we hold that for 30 seconds. And then we transfer to a side plank. Looks like that. On one elbow. plank, you can either hold here for 30 seconds, or you can make it harder by raising your knee and pulling in. If you're pulling in like this, really make sure you keep your hips up and don't let them drop. And then we do it on the other side. And then raise your leg. And then you finish off the whole series with a minimum of 1 minute plank. Sometimes I try to see if I can hold this for as long as I can. I'm only gonna hold it for a little bit for you guys so I don't bore you. And there you go. So, again, this is about, if you do everything for about 10 times or 30 seconds-ish, you're going to come out to around an 8-minute program. And you can repeat as many times as you want. So what I like to do is I like to go through each series in whole and then repeat. I like to try to do it twice and sometimes 3 times if I have the time. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you find it really helpful. Keeping your core strong is a really vital part of anything that we do and just for life in general. Thanks for following along, you guys.